Re-releases, re-releasing a game and putting it out on a new platform. Sometimes remastering it, sometimes remaking it, try to add some polish to it in some way, shape, or form. But sometimes content gets removed from the re-release for one reason or another. Most common being licensing, but I want to talk about being removed for licensing reasons in a different video. Since it was just either small odd things removed or big things removed that were gone in a re-release for one reason or another. So I want to get more into that. The first one I want to get out of the way immediately is just multiplayer modes in general. Re-releases generally just won't include a multiplayer mode. Like Last of Us Part 1 Remake does not include a multiplayer mode factions, though the PS4 Remaster did include factions. Red Dead Remaster does not include the original Red Dead Online. It's just probably the most common thing that a lot of games just don't include the online mode when they get re-released. Some games actually add online modes, like when I saw the Peace Walker added an online mode for PS3 360, but a lot of games have an online feature. It generally gets removed in favor of just preserving the single player content in the game. So I'm gonna get that one out of the way because it's probably one of the most go-to things that people generally look at and point at for when it comes to re-releases. Just broad spectrum, getting it out of there. Although I think there's one point later in this video where it does get brought up, but that's not the point. Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore, specifically only from the perspective of the Japanese audience, because the English audience, that's a topic of localization. But for the Japanese audience, Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore was a remaster that altered and removed a lot of content, including some DLC content that didn't get localized for the West, like the swimsuits. But for the Japanese fans, that's just content that technically got removed since Encore is based off the Western release. So from the Japanese fans' perspective, this is content that was removed from a remaster. But from a Western fan, because the Wii U version, that's what talk about localization, that's saved for a different video. But for here, Japanese fans, it is technically content being removed. The Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters. These remasters don't include their re-release content, this might be a re-release themselves, with the logic being they wanted to focus more on being faithful to the OG versions, except for the fact that Final Fantasy 1 on this version includes some of the GBA stuff and more story retcons, but I digress. This on top of the fact that the recently announced Final Fantasy Tactics remake will also not include the re-release content from the PSP version, War of the Lions, which this is just completely weird that they have versions they can draw upon with more content, but don't. And even weirder in the case of War of the Lions, because they're adding in, or I mean shifting content in order to pretty much make certain things more available. Like I believe they're making Cloud more rarely available compared to the PS1 original, which means you are willing to do stuff like that, but you won't include the War of the Lions content, with the excuse being that, oh, because the original dev team, not all of them worked on the War of the Lions version, but it probably has to do with the fact that they had to reverse engineer this game since they didn't have the source code, so it may just be an issue of development and they struggled to get the game to exist to begin with. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, specifically the re-releases, so much of DX Director's Cut, as much as 2 Battle. The Battle one is more so when it came to like the PS3 360 and PC ports, where the Battle content was specifically made DLC for some reason. Like, they kept the updated Child Guard and stuff like that, but when it came to the multiplayer aspect, you had to pay like, it was like $5 extra or so in order to get that content, which I'm gonna count it because it still feels very weird they did that to begin with. Like, I don't get it. For the DX, however, the GameCube original included the Game Gear games for getting a certain amount of emblems, so it's a bonus reward for playing so much of DX Director's Cut. The re-release on PS3 360 and PC omitted those Game Gear games. They were just completely removed entirely for some reason. So that one is like, I really don't get it. Some say it's to try and justify re-releases, but I never did, so it just comes up as incredibly random, but that one you can mod back in on the PC release at least, so they clearly are still in the files in some way, shape, or form. DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition. They removed Virgil's fedora. That's it. That's all I gotta say. They removed his fedora. But you can still see in the credits, because the credits use footage from the original version of the game instead of the remaster. But there you go, they removed his fedora. How dare they? They're supposed to have power. Why do this? The Legend of Dragoon. So when the game originally released in Japan, it had a minigame that used the Pocketstation. But if that wasn't released internationally, the minigame was removed. Problem is, Magic's Shiny Bag was an item that allowed you to essentially hold and transfer items to your inventory because by default, you only carry 32 items. This object let you essentially increase that to 64, but like I said, it only counts for outside of combat. You can't do that within combat itself. But this was not put in the PS1 version. Now when the game got ported to PS3, PS4, and PS5, there's obviously not going to be a slot for the Pocketstation, and they never once decided to bring the thing back, which means the Magic Shiny Bag is essentially just lost content because, well, there's no way to access it, period. They even add a workaround for the re-releases. Some games do have workarounds for stuff like this, so they re-release it, but as far as I'm aware, Legend of Dragoon, Magic Shiny Bag is only the Japanese original, so any re-releases has it cut to not be able to use the Pocketstation, which means you're stuck with the 32 inventory size that was available outside of Japan. Makes me wonder how the Japanese release for this game works, considering the game had to be rebalanced in the West because they removed this item. So it makes me wonder if the Japanese versions are more using the North American balancing, or if they're instead still keep their old balancing, which means, oh, those players must be suffering. Okay, well this opening bit was shorter than the other videos, this kind of thing. The discussion portion does have more stuff when it comes to games that had content removed from a re-release. So I just want to keep this segment shorter, and also because I totally used most of my best material in the discussion when it came to it. On top of the fact of, you know, I didn't want to just go like, this game lost multiplayer. This game also lost multiplayer, because it's like one of the most common things to get removed for a remaster because of the costing of adding in multiplayer for remaster and everything. So the rest of this video will be more discussion thing that we'll talk about more things that were removed in re-releases. So I want to get these out of the way, so I forgot to mention them initially. Alrighty then, enjoy the rest of this video. Good day.
Alright, so content removed in remasters. So I'm going to start with the easiest one, which would be Metroid Prime 1. So in Prime 1, on the original GameCube, you were able to access the Fusion Suit, whether it be by beating the game or by connecting your GBA with the connecting cord thing and putting your copy of Metroid Fusion, and you get the Fusion Suit. They kept that, but tweaked it a bit in the Metroid Prime trilogy for the Wii, where you could get the Fusion Suit by unlocking it with in-game points that you earn by beating the game or doing XYZ missions. But in Metroid Prime Remaster for the Switch, for some reason the Fusion Suit is not there. Nobody knows why. I think somebody data mined it and said that the data for it is like shows in there, but there's no model for it. So I don't know what happened, but they just completely omitted the Fusion Suit. And everybody thought, oh, maybe when they bring Fusion with the Game Pass thingy online on the Switch, that's when we can get the Fusion Suit. But no, to this very day, the Fusion Suit's been completely removed from Prime Remaster, and we don't know why.
That's a weird one, because they already found the solution with the Wii version, which I've seen other games do, where it's like, oh, you need like an online thing or something. Now it's give you in-game points to do it. So it's weird. They just removed that entirely. Even if I Battle Network Collection had to rework how to get some of the content, because originally to get points from looking up on the box type player.
Yeah, it's weird.
Time for the first one on my list, and we're really going into a heavy subject.
Okay.
We gotta talk about Yakuza 3.
Alright.
First, talk about the OG release. So in the OG release, content was removed from the Western version because they felt like a Western audience wouldn't understand it, so they removed it. I believe it involved like a little game show thing, but also I believe stuff related to the Hostess Clubs. The remaster brings its content back. What it instead does is removes some sub-stories.
Oh.
The reason being is because those sub-stories were transphobic.
Damn it! That was on my list. Now I gotta erase it.
And so the devs, oh, this is gonna be a game. This is gonna be a game now. So who could say a game first? But so that to remove it because it was transphobic, and they've highlight how the dev team have changed and matured since then. Apologize for that content even being in the OG Yakuza 3. They also, for some reason, removed Kiryu's cigarette from the box art.
Oh.
No, I don't know why. Just, the box art, he has a cigarette. Like I think I showed you earlier, or someone earlier.
Yes.
And there was an image of the cigarette. That's the OG PS3 box art for Japan. But in the remaster, he has no cigarette. No one knows why. Says Yakuza 3 remastered that removed content, but did it for an actual good reason for why they did it. Although many people are still like, I want my content. It's like,
all right. So the next one, that's also an easy one for me to mention, would be Mass Effect. So, specifically Mass Effect Legendary Edition. In the original Mass Effect 1, this one is a little benign, but I want to mention it anyway. In the original Mass Effect 1, you had a DLC called Pinnacle Station, which doesn't really add much to like the main story overall. It's just like a little side game where you can go train with your weapons to get, I guess, a better aim, and Shepard gets a little like private house quarters in there. And it was not brought over into Legendary Edition because they messed up the code. So that's kind of like removed content, but it's not that big of a deal. Like, it's not the end of the world that got removed. Likewise, in Legendary Edition, another benign one that comes to mind would be the quote-unquote epidemic of the ass shots for Miranda Lawson. Because in the original 2, Miranda's ass was in the camera so many times, but then in Legendary Edition, they changed the camera view so it's not pointing directly at her ass, and everybody lost their fucking minds when it's, again, not that big of a deal. It doesn't impact the fucking story. And then to top it off, the last one, which, again, this is probably a benign, but I want to mention it as well, Mass Effect 3. In the original 3, you had multiplayer. In the Legendary Edition, they removed the multiplayer entirely.
Several entries on my list are going to involve multiplayer, by the way. So that's why I said technically I'm cheating. But yeah, the Miranda one was one. As someone who never really liked Miranda, I really don't get why people are obsessed. I don't get people obsessed with her ass. She's female Michael Jackson. Why do you want to say her ass?
And like, if it's that big of a deal, guess what? There's something called mods.
Okay, but can you actually mod it, or are you just saying that hypothetically?
No, there's somebody actually made a mod restoration to restore the camera angles back to her ass.
Okay, but I can get if you're upset because if you're not a PC player.
Oh, true. Okay, yeah, I guess for the non-PC players, then yeah, okay.
But even then, I just think, you know, I want the player to take the character more seriously. I'd say I know Mass Effect 2 is the most blood entry in the franchise. I think it's not far from a bad game, but it's the worst one for me. But I get the thing, like, you can't mod in your own console. At the same time, it's just a nothing burger change. I know, I know, ironically, because it's the paradox of it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. Then why remove it? You know, kind of like a paradox statement. But I don't care. All right, next up, doing more happy topics. Catherine.
Oh.
And this will be a spoiler for Catherine. So you not play Catherine or Catherine Full Body. I'll put a timestamp for spoiler for what to talk about. The character of Erica.
I knew it.
In the original release of the game, they did name the character in the credits. So in the re-releases, including Full Body and the PC Steam version, they fixed that and put her correct name. No one knows why they would even name a fictional character to begin with.
Jesus.
Like, what's even the point? Especially when that's info you only get from, like, literally the true character with a K ending. So it's not as if it's information that the player had to know. But that game got backlash for being transphobic in that sense. And then Captain Full Body got backlash for made up transphobia. It didn't actually exist, but that's a different topic. That's nothing to do with this topic. So I'll leave up the mystery and just suffer Mondo. Next game.
Alright, I'm not sure if this counts. Silent Hill HD Remaster?
God damn it, I was gonna put this really is a game of freaking battleships.
Shit! Look, man. Okay. So anyway, yes, back in ye old day, that was my first exposure to Silent Hill. I did not play the original, and you know, I suffered greatly because of that. But anyway, yeah, so HD version, specifically 2, because, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 3 remained mostly intact, right?
3 is on my list because they did not have the rights to include the OG voice track, so 3 only has the option for new voice actors.
Oh, I thought only 2 had the option for the voice actors.
No, 2 gives you the option. 3 HD version only has the new voices because they didn't get permission to use the old voice track in time.
Ah, okay. Never mind then. Yeah, so 2 HD is basically a chopped up, incomplete version of an early build because they fucking somehow lost the damn original source code for Silent Hill 2, so they were working off I think it was a beta model, right?
Yeah, it's a common thing that, at least around that time, because companies never thought about, the idea of re-releasing games, so it would be like, we need to keep this. That's what happened to playing Square Enix games.
And yeah, so the fog is all fucked up compared to the original. The famous meme of the font size, Silent Hill Ranch.
The font size, the fact that the font is Comic Sans.
Yeah, that. And yeah, it's just a mess. Like you can see like so far ahead, and like it kind of microphone. It kind of ruins the immersion, and like you can kind of see like everything loading in real time as opposed to the original game where it was masked in the fog, so it felt immersive as you were progressing. It's just a disaster.
The funny part is the PS2 actually could run that stuff. They just did it because the style was real good.
Yeah.
That's the funny part. Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of the New World.
Okay.
It just didn't include it. They just fucking remastered the first game and didn't include the sequel. That's the punchline. The punchline is the PS3 got an HD remaster of Tales of Symphonia, and 1 and 2 as a collection of $40. Meanwhile, on modern consoles, they re-released Symphonia, but not sequel at the exact same price as the old collection.
Oh yeah, you told me about.
So the punchline is they just didn't include the game.
Oh my god.
Granted, the remaster of Symphonia was trash when it first came out, but they got updated to be better. But they just didn't include the sequel, and I hate the fact that people clap for it because yeah, the sequel's not good, but why would you not want to throw it in for the same price? You're paying more money to get less. And I know the Dawn of the New World fans exist. I know, I've seen them. Dawn of the New World, funny enough, Dawn of the New World used to be classified as a spin-off, but then many years later, and they were reordering the Tales of games, it officially got boosted to mainline status.
Oh.
I'm like, why wasn't it mainline status? It's a direct sequel, Symphonia. So yeah, that's my joke. The joke is they didn't remaster Dawn of the New World. Next game, you go ahead.
I have no more.
I have a longer list than you, my god.
I know. That was all I could think of.
Okay, next up, Persona 5 Royal.
Aha!
They removed the Rhino costume, and they hard removed it. There is nothing in the game's files referencing it in the remaster from modern consoles. In order to be, or it became a modern PC. What modern PC is that you will have to, I kid you not, hack the hex editor in order to replace a different DLC costume to put Rhino's files in.
Jesus.
So you flat out cannot have it back while sacrificing something else. And you also have the fact that they also changed some dialogue in this game when they made Royal. Specifically when they made Royal, not the Royal Remaster, but Royal itself is a remaster, so I count it. Such as the fact that there's the infamous thing where they remove Ryuji using the F-bomb. But the big one that got controversy is the fact that the 2 people who kidnapped Ryuji and Shinjuku had their dialogue switch from being blatant gay stereotypes to blatant gay stereotypes, but now they're about fashion, so I guess it's fine now, question mark.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Honestly, it's the exact same thing, just kind of sidestepped it, for so many people clapped. It's like, the problem's still there. The problem's still there. But also, although they did change it to where during the beach scene they no longer chase after Joker and Ryuji, they just automatically give up. But yeah, Ryuji being kidnapped for fashion in no way makes it better than him being kidnapped by two random men. It's not the same thing. That's it, you have nothing else left. Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and Peace Walker.
Ooh.
Metal Gear Solid 2 remove the skateboarding minigame when it got remastered. There used to be a skateboarding minigame because there was a Konami skateboarding game that came out that had content for various Konami games, including Metal Gear Solid. So they took the Metal Gear Solid part and included it in the MGS2 re-release, as well as on PS2, so it's not a remaster, but MGS2 Substance. But they removed the skateboarding minigame in the HD release. Metal Gear Solid 3 also lost content in HD release, where they removed the Snake vs. Monkey minigame that was a collaboration with the Ape Escape franchise by Sony. But the remake is now bringing it back.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But it also removed one cutscene in particular, which also removed an entire feature from the game. You see, MGS3 also had a re-release on PS2 called Subsistence. One of the features was that if you saw every cutscene in the game, you unlocked a secret theater. Secret theater allows you to see every cutscene in the game on your choice anytime you want. But it also unlocked bonus cutscenes, most of which are just like these gag cutscenes they made just for this mode. Or you can watch every cutscene with Eva, but now she's just always in her underwear for some reason. There's a feature. But the gag cutscenes were pretty funny they added in. They were really goofy, and they were high-effort gag cutscenes. The problem is, in the HD re-release, you see in the LG version, there is a point in which you can make Snake have a nightmare. This nightmare will then have you play an entire minigame only called Guy Savage. People theorize it was essentially some prototype for a game that got scrapped but was put into MGS3 because why the F not? It's a short minigame, but you suddenly play as an action game. I can't lie, feels like some prototype to a scrap Castlevania game, you ask me. But after the nightmare, there is a cutscene where Snake wakes up all terrified, and there's a entire conversation about it. Because you can no longer get that one cutscene, you cannot trigger having all cutscenes. Therefore, you cannot trigger Secret Theater in the remaster.
Oh.
Because that one minigame is removed, the cutscene of Snake waking up from a nightmare is not included. Therefore, you do not have every cutscene, and therefore no Secret Theater. Therefore, no gag cutscenes for you. Peace Walker is a simple one. Peace Walker is that originally you could switch the AI bosses to, instead of having this synthesized voice, to instead have the voice of Hatsune Miku. This also includes the ability to customize your own Vocaloid in Peace Walker for the robot mech that you yourself eventually build. But this feature was completely scrapped, and all references to Hatsune Miku crossover was completely removed.
Wow.
It's not talked about thing, and people didn't use it, or people didn't know they could also swap that in the PSP version. You could swap the voices from these AI voices to Hatsune Miku. But let's one of my favorite fan arts, which is Nick and Snake looking up, shocked and seeing Hatsune Miku running a giant mech coming for his ass. And that's the MGS ones for re-releases. I got through more on my list because I got nothing else.
I actually remembered one thing.
Oh, thank God. What do you got?
A Dead Rising Remaster.
Fuck you, it's on my list!
Oh, god damn it.
Go ahead.
Since you were talking about controversial things with Yakuza, I remembered a controversial Dead Rising. Am I allowed to speak freely, or do I have to watch what I want to say?
If you say something really bad, it's really bad, I'm gonna edit it out.
Like, if I want to say, like in the original, he said Viet Cong, can I say that, or is that not allowed?
That's not really much of a bad thing entirely, so go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, Dead Rising Remaster, obviously it's a remastered Dead Rising 1. Now, a few things, very minuscule, again, not really like at least in my opinion, not really like that big of a world-ending thing in the grand scheme of things. You can still play the game and enjoy it. Two things that I know off the top of my head that would change from the original. The PTSD soldier guy with the machete that you face, I forgot his name. The guy that you face in the hardware store section in the mall. In the original game, seeing as he's a PTSD war veteran, he addresses Frank as Viet Cong. But that's changed. They changed the dialogue in the remaster to, what was it again? Like you're an enemy spy, you're a traitor or something like that?
No, it's even worse. In the OG, it's because you're Viet Cong, isn't it? In the remaster, it's because you're a mole.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you're a mole. So, just a small dialogue change. In my opinion, not really that big of a deal, but, to each his own. And then the second one would be the Butcher.
I guess if we check the other line. The other line they removed is him screaming, "You're nothing but a filthy communist!" But in the remaster, it's like, "You're nothing but a filthy traitor!"
Oh, right, I forgot about that. Yeah, and then the Butcher. Like, in the original one, the Butcher's portrayed as a stereotypical Chinese butcher. While in the remake, they just changed him to be some, like, old white guy.
He's not white.
Oh.
That people keep saying he's white in the remaster. He's not white. He's still Chinese. He's just not a stereotype of a Chinese person.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, again, minor difference. Once again, not really an end-of-the-world scenario.
That's major difference. That OG version was actually straight up racist.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, when it's changed, like, it shouldn't interfere with your effect in playing the game. Like, you can still enjoy playing the game. I'm saying it's for people not to make a big deal out of it, if there is such a thing, which, I mean, obviously, knowing the world and the internet, there is. But, yeah, so those changes are, like, the top two that I can recall from Dead Rising, but it doesn't affect, you can still play the game. Like, it shouldn't interfere with you playing the game, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm surprised you forgot the one that does alter gameplay, which is freaking Kent and the photography to remove the erotica tag, so they had to change the context of what picture to show him, but they still kept the same script of his response, which makes no sense when you're also redubbing the game and everything. So why not just change the line of what he's saying? Because they try to do the thing where, like, here's my new funny shot, but they also kept on the part where he goes, It's like, who says that about something funny?
Yeah, I fucking forgot about that. Yeah, that was so weird to me. I remember, like, I took a random picture of, like, an entire horde, just, like, close up, so you can see, like, their blood and shit. And then to have him say that same reaction, like, if it was the erotica shot from the first game, I'm like, buddy, what? Buddy, you're looking at a fucking rotten corpse. What are you ahhing about?
Also, the fact that, strangely enough, while there is no erotica tag, the game files still register erotica, so you get bonus points for it. It just won't say erotica.
Oh.
That's the weird part. You still get bonus points for it. It just say no genre. But that's one that affects gameplay, so that slightly alters the gameplay and the mission objective for the photographer. That's about it. Just like one objective slightly changed, but still, it is a change that affects gameplay.
Yes.
So yeah, that's just a weird one. Great, Dead Rising 3.
Ha!
Dead Rising 3 on Xbox One premiered with this new technology via the Microsoft smartphone, which basically, I think it's like Xbox Glass and like the Google Glass. I'm not sure what it's called, so something Glass, whatever. Either way, it's a smartphone app that could hook up to your Xbox. It allowed you to get assistance from the radio guy, including ordering in a goddamn airstrike. How much danger are we in if we can order a goddamn airstrike? The reason this is important is because he also gave you special missions. These missions culminated in a finale where Nick meets someone who works for Phenotrans and the radio guy wants to kill him because he blames him for, like, I think it was his brother's death or something. Nick decides to instead give the guy Zombrex to help him out, but feels like they put beside the guy, don't make me regret this later. I mention this because this guy in question, named Brad, he's the player character of the final Droid 3 DLC.
Oh.
And those cutscenes and missions were only in the OG Xbox One version. So imagine being plunged into a DLC scenario with a character you have no idea who he is, and a cutscene you have no context for what's going on. And he left in the PC version. They also did not bring over the last DLC, which was the big arcade Capcom Celebration DLC, aka the one people actually liked. And so that DLC is also only on Xbox One for some reason. I'm never going to try and borrow Sega's name while looking it up, because I can't remember his names. But either way, that was left out from the PC release of Dragoon 3.
Wow. That is, you saying that kind of reminded me of a different one that you finish.
I just fit Dragoon 3, that's it. So you go ahead.
Alright, so since you mentioned DLC, that kind of like makes me remember Dead Rising 2, where they had the whole like Chuck and Frank take on Pheno Trans and stuff, and they have a Left 4 Dead references there, is only on the Xbox. They didn't bring that when they ported Dead Rising over to, hell, even like the other, I don't know if it's on the newer Xboxes, but I know
that does not count, because K0 and Case West are standalone games. They're not DLC to Dead Rising 2.
Never mind.
So that's technically a separate game. They just didn't bring over because of an Xbox deal, and they are still playable if you buy like an Xbox One or Xbox Series console.
Never the fuck I mind.
But yeah, that's not DLC for the game. That's a entirely standalone downloadable game. So technically, that'd be they didn't bring over the entire game, which is not the same thing.
Well, then skip my shit.
then also, Dead Rising 2 came out on PC the same day as console, so you can't really count that.
Oh, okay.
It'd be like counting Silent Hill 4 removing Hauntings in the PC release, but it came out in the same time as the console version. That's just being a trash PC port. What's the GOG version? I recently reviewed and fixes. Go buy that one.
I probably will.
It just shows you don't watch the content.
Okay.